The first speaker is Liu Liju. Good morning, everyone. I'm Liu Liju, and today I'll be presenting my research on vision-based obstacle detection and autonomous path navigation for pivotal UAVs, supervised by Dr. Yu Yifeng. Here's today's outline. First, I'll introduce the motivation and methodology. Next, I'll explain our obstacle recognition and path planning methods, including obstacle flow, clustering, segmentation, and PFS algorithms. Then I'll show the experimental results and finally the short conclusion. With advancing technology and decreasing costs, UAVs have become popular mobile platforms. However, in complex environments, ensuring safe obstacle avoidance through real-time perception remains a major challenge. Integrating pre-planned routes with real-time environmental information during flights and adapting flexibly to obstacles continue to be a difficult problem. This study combines static and dynamic processing methods to enable UAVs to autonomously navigate and avoid obstacles in unknown environments. During navigation, the onboard camera and obstacle flow method detect obstacles. Through regional analysis, the system determines obstacle position, and the BFX algorithm then finds safe path, allowing the UAV to adjust its direction in real time for effective obstacle avoidance. This study first applies the firm-back obstacle flow method to analyze motion information in image and generate a dense obstacle flow field. The core approach involves performing a progressive polynomial fitting on local image regions to estimate pixel intensity and infer each pixel's motion vector based on consecutive frames. The size of local regions strongly affects accuracy. A smaller sampling area provides finer detail, but may be noisy, while a larger area offers smoother flow but can lose precision around edges. This study employs the scan clustering algorithm to construct a spatial motion hybrid feature data set. However, the clustering process itself lacks the ability to distinguish between foreground and background. Therefore, based on the observation that foreground obstacle typically exhibit larger motion vectors, only clusters with optical flow magnitudes exceeding a specified threshold are retained as the final foreground output. To quantify obstacle and open areas, this study divided the image into a 5x5 grid, forming 25 regions. Each region is analyzed to determine the presence of obstacles and to calculate its occlusion ratio. Only regions with ratio exceeding a defined threshold are marked as obstacle areas. Through occlusion analysis and grid partitioning, the systems identify obstacle regions and records their grid position, thereby constructing a complete spatial occupancy map. Next, I'll introduce the first experiment. This experiment evaluates the completeness of obstacle contour recognition at different distances. The UAV starts from a fixed position and records obstacles contour every 50 centimeters along its path, comparing them with the actual obstacle shapes. Two obstacle sizes are tested. Larger one is 60 times 90 centimeters, and the smaller one is 30 times 60 centimeters. Their position and heights are kept consistent to ensure uniform recognition conditions. The main evaluation metric in this experiment is contour coverage rate, which measures the overlap between the system detected obstacle contour and the actual contours, reflecting the overall recognition performance. The experiment includes 10 distance points, 2 obstacle sizes, and 25 tests per point, totaling 500 data samples. The following picture performs the process in the algorithm. The data show that the contour coverage rate increases as the distance decreases. At 350 centimeters, regardless of the object size, the coverage rate exceeds 80%, indicating that the system can reliably recognize the main shape of obstacles. In this study, the BFS algorithm is used to find the largest traversable area within the scene. Starting from each unvisited open cell, it expands in 4 directions iteratively, searching and marking all connected empty cells, ultimately identifying the largest connected region. When multiple disconnected open areas exist in the scene, the BFS algorithm is executed on each open region individually. After calculating the area of each, the region with the largest area is selected as the optimal traversable direction. The yellow arrow represents the central direction of that region, providing navigation guidance for the UAV. This approach enables the system to automatically select the optimal path among multiple candidates, enhancing the stability and real-time performance of obstacle avoidance. After BFS determines the 2D path, we use the projection to map it into 3-dimensional space. This process converts image coordinates into real-time distance, allowing the UAV to follow the plane path accurately in 3D space. And this experiment verifies the system's obstacle avoidance capability in static obstacle environments. Estimates the minimum safe buffer distance. The examine how obstacle sizes affects avoidance performance. The UAV starts at a distance of 500 centimeters and gradually moves closer while performing avoidance tests. The system detects obstacle in real time and generates guidance vector for avoidance. The obstacle avoidance success rate is recorded and the minimum safe distance is analyzed under different starting distance and obstacle sizes. You can see the result that for small obstacles, recognition success rate drops significantly below 100 centimeters, reaching only 24% at centimeters. And for larger obstacles, it starts to decline at 200 centimeters and falls sharply below 150 centimeters, reaching just 8% at 50 centimeters. Overall, from the obstacle recognition experiment, we observed that recognition performance varies with distance and obstacle sizes. Within the 200 to 350 centimeters range, the system maintains sufficient recognition accuracy and response times. consistently generating guidance vector and completing avoidance manual. Therefore, this range is defined as safe distance zone. In conclusion, we developed a region-based autonomous navigation system that combines turn-back obstacle flow for motion detection, PE scan clustering, and occlusion analysis for obstacle recognition, and BFS with the projection for path planning. Experiments confirm that our system achieved higher accuracy and effective obstacle avoidance in static environments, demonstrating strong potential for real-world UAV application. Thank you.
Any question? Any question? No question? Do you have shown any comparisons with others work? Comparison. You only show your result. But how can I recognize your performance? Because you have only your result, right? Yeah. So I don't understand how to evaluate your performance. It's good.因为你现在就只有你的效能，那我现在就只有看到你在不同的距离，不同的那个从500到50，然后你的那个 success rate 就一路下降，这样的话是好的。就是说它，因为假设有跟别人比的话，就会比较容易知道它客观的那个效能。那还是说你们的研究就是只要去的成果就好？
那时候做的时候就没有显著的效果。
这好像比较少见，因为你也不知道你对，就是说usually we will compare with other existing work to evaluate our performance. But maybe because your research they have other data. So maybe we are different regions. So I don't understand that it's good or not. And in addition, you didn't show the reference in the next page, right? And you did not discuss the related work. 那个通常都会讲一些你那个之前做过什么，那别人都学点什么。Okay, we welcome the next speaker.
Morning, everyone. My name is Chen, and my advisor is Professor Li Gong. And my topic is incremental gravity control of a four-wheel differential drive vehicle. And this is my overview. Let's start in with our motivation. Today, there is a fast-growing demand for robots in complex environments. The best case development of autonomous navigation and service robotics require platforms that can operate easily, especially in small or tight spaces. However, we face limitations with traditional systems. Conventional front wheel or rear wheel start mechanisms often lack the agility needed for tight and complex maneuvers. And this makes a four-wheel drive system, especially one with a spring in place, and highly desirable for modern applications. But this agility comes with a big challenge, the synchronization problem. Driving four-wheel independently introduce severe synchronization difficulties. Even a small difference in motor speed can cause a big trajectory deviation and make the entire platform unstable. Therefore, there is a critical need for advanced control. This research aims to implement an incremental PID control strategy to overcome this dynamic challenge, ensuring that the synchronization across all motors is precise, smooth, and highly responsive. Let's look at the primary advantage of four-wheel drive system. It offers far superior maneuverability compared to conventional drive system. You can turn on the dime and navigate tight corner. And the challenge is managing the dynamics of four independent wheels. The required is a highly robust and responsive control system. To solve this, we return an incremental PID control, unlike traditional PID algorithm, which calculates the absolute output needed at an given moment. Our incremental PID computes only the increment of the necessary change in each control cycle. I will explain why this distinction is so crucial in a few moments. And let's look at the formation of our platform. Our system is divided into three main sections: central control, sensory inputs, and actuator outputs. For the central control, we utilize the HD32 microcontroller. It operates at up to 48 MHz, effectively integrating all sensor data and activating the control algorithm. For our sensor inputs, we rely on three main components. First, an IMU read gyroscope data using UART, allowing us to check the vehicle's attitude and heading in real time. Second, we have a voltage detection module that monitors the system voltage using an ADC to ensure our power supply remains stable. Finally, and very important, to capture the motor RPM, we use encoder signal proceed through SCTN and GPTN timers for precise speed tracking of all wheels. And based on this input, the actuator output take over. The MCU outputs PWM signal using MCTN to perfectly regulate the speed and direction of the 4 DC motor based on the control increments we calculate. Let's talk about the plan of the operation, the control strategy. Traditional PID consists of three terms. The KP, which is the proportional, it responds directly to the current arrow. The KI, which is integral, it accumulates past error. This is crucial for eliminating steady-state error. Ensuring we eventually reach our exact targets. The KD, which is directed, is anticipates future error by looking at the rate of change, which helps damping system installation. All the core difference between these two control handles. Traditional PID calculates a fluid output value. It tells the motor exactly what speed to react. And on the other hand, incremental PID calculates only the increments or decrements required from the current state. Instead of saying go to 50 RPM, it says increase your current speed by 2 RPM. And these small shifts provide massive advantage for a four-wheel drive platform. First, it eliminates interval steady-state error because it doesn't accumulate as error over long periods. It prevents massive overshoot if the wheel gets stuck for a short time. Second, it provides smoother control because output change and gradual deltas protect our motor and physical chassis from sudden voltage spikes or harsh net flow shocks. Let's look at how the performs in reality. During our test, we set different target speed for the inner and outer wheel to accurate turns. For example, motor 1 and motor 2 targeted about 60 RPM, while the motor 3 and motor 4 targeted about 38 RPM. We observed the RPM stabilize very quickly in about 1.5 seconds. This makes the duration of the vehicle training control time perfect. To make sure our orientation control, we evaluate target steering angle ranging from 5 to 40 degrees. For our methodology, we conduct 5 different trials for each angle to calculate the average angular error. Our key finding was highly successful. Across all test cases, the average orientation error remained strictly under 4 degrees. In conclusion, the four-wheel drive platform we designed has high maneuverability, stable speed control, and accurate positioning. This was achieved through the successful combination of encoder-based feedback and our incremental PID control strategy. Our platform features a modular design, meaning it is fully functional as a standalone mobility base for transport or service application right now. But it also easily supports future integration with various perception systems. And our future improvement will focus on integrating advanced strategy and sleep extension to prevent wheel spin, and adaptive control strategy to handle uneven strength. And this is my reference. Thank you for your attention. Hardware timer, especially the SCTM and GPM, to directly capture the encoder signal for precise motor RPM and checking without heavy load the CPU.
You mentioned inverse rotation in your presentation. Why is this feature so important for your robot?
So in-place rotation allows the robot to turn around without needing extra space to move or backward. And this is very important in real life, such as in aero factory areas or hospital hallway. A normal car cannot make a U-turn in these tight spaces, but our four-wheel drive platform can spin easily and save a lot of time.
Okay. As the same question, because you have the lens designed with the incremental, right? In my opinion, incremental maybe will increase the error because it calculates the difference between the present result and the next one. So I'm wondering, can you show the traditional PID with the incremental the result? Because you only show the incremental, right? Maybe you can return to the. This is the error angle. You show that your error angle is between 1 degree to the 2 4. And the traditional one, how is the range?
它不是主要要，因为其实控制的话，方法应该就是这个 incremental PID 是用来解决就是像是那个 overshooting 的问题，所以对，所以我们就其实我应该少放到那个就是他们的 overshooting 这样 PID 会有这个情况，我应该着重在。
Yeah, because any research have to evaluate. So maybe your research is good, but lack of the comparison with others, especially PID traditional one. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. The next one.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present my work, 3LED three-range calibration driven fusion framework for logical anomaly detection. My name is Lee, and my advisor is Shannon Lee. Here is our outline. First, let me explain what logical anomaly detection is. In traditional anomaly detection, we usually look for overlay, surface defects such as supersymmetry, dents, or contamination. But in logical anomaly detection, the problem is different. The products may not have any visible damage, but it still violates some logical rules. This is why the problem is difficult. For logical anomalies, logical multi-talent quality global correctness, a product can look fine edge by edge, but still be abnormal in terms of component arrangement or topology. So for this kind of data, it is not enough to only look at local appearance. We need to consider three kinds of information at the same time: component level information, feature level information, and the relation level information. That is the motivation for using a multi-branch design. My goal is to extend a two-branch baseline into three-branch framework. The inherited baseline comes from a CSA-based design. It already includes two branches. H is program, which focuses on component level anomaly queues, and the LGSD, which focuses on feature level anomaly queues. My extension adds a third branch called AD to model relations between components and also adds a calibration driver using shared feature. So the main idea is not just to add one more branch, but also to solve the problem of how to fuse different anomaly signal in a stable way. This slide shows the overall architecture of 3LAD. The framework can be divided into three stages. First, in the shared component stage, I use the regenerate component estimate released by the CSAD authors for component segmentation training. Second, the three branches generated anomaly score from the different perspectives. Each problem captures component level statistics, and just captures feature levels, discrepancies, and graph AD captures relation level and topology aware information. Third, these scores are normalized and used to produce the final anomaly score. So overall, 3LAD tries to combine component aware, feature test, and relation evidence in one unified framework. Now I will explain graph AD a bit more. The main goal of graph AD is to explicitly model relationship between components. First, I extract components from the components master. Each component becomes a node in a graph. Then I use the history of each component to build a nearest neighbor's edge based on spatial possibility. So in the end, I get a component graph where nodes represent detected components and the edge represent spatial neighborhood relations. Each node includes geometric features and a local implementation class is program. Then I use a lightweight GCN to perform message passing. So that each node can incorporate information from nearby components. Finally, I use encoding to get a graph level representation and output a graph anomaly score. This slide explains the core idea of calibration clarification. The motivation is that the three branch produce anomaly score from very different sources. So their score scales are not directly comparable. The first step is score normalization. Here the idea is to transform each branch score into a more comparable scale before fusion. In this slide, I use a robust normalization formula based on median and the median absolute deviation or MAD, which is less sensitive to extreme outliers. The second step is category aware for that. As the normalization, the system evaluates inter-branch agreement, which means how consistent the branch with each other. If you look at it for deviates too much from the other branch, the system trees it as less reliable and the conservative force that to a more stable two branch position. So the main message of this slide is that multi-branch is not only about adding more queues. It is also about stabilizing heterogeneous score before fusion. For evaluation, I use the NVTech local data benchmark. It can identify categories, first class, choose bottles, push keys, score back, and the slicing connectors. This is a representative benchmark for logical anomaly detection because it clearly distinguishes logical anomaly from structural anomaly. This is the main result. As we can see from the table, 380 shows a clear evidence in our main area of both the logical anomaly. This is especially true for category that depend more on spatial topology, like the cluster box and splicing connectors, which drive the average AURC for logical anomalies up to 97.62. Looking at the overall average at the bottom, 3 LA successful fusion multi-branch features to reach a final performance of 95.1. This slide shows the effective of fallback mechanism. Here I compare two fusion strategies. If we average the 3-branch score without calibration, the total average AUR drops significantly to 93.44. This tells us that if multi-branch fusion is not reliable because the 3-branch produce heterogeneous score with very different distribution. In contrast, when I use the proposed category fallbacks, the performance improves to 97.62 for logical AURC, 93.39 for structural AURC, and 95.5 for the total average. So the key message of this slide is that the improvement doesn't come simply from adding graph entities, it comes from combining relationships with a more stable and conservative fusion strategy. In other words, heterogeneous signals cannot be direct averaged in practice. They need calibration and fallback mechanism to become useful. This slide presents qualitative example. And only the LGST branch provides against spatial anomaly map. So this visualization should be interpreted as a score calibrated LGST visualizations rather than actor spatial positions of the final fused score. So this will help us understand where the model force and how the final decision is related to branch level evidence. So to summarize, we could propose 3 branch framework for logical anomaly detection. The key idea is to compare component level, feature level, and relational information while also making the fusion process more stable in the fine deployment oriented setting. The method achieves the total average ARC 95.1. I think the most important takeaway is the relation modeling can help, but only when the branch outputs are used carefully and robustly. For future work, I would like to improve relation visualization and explore stronger fusion strategies for more robust performance across categories. That is all for my presentation. Thank you for your.
Any questions? Okay.
What is the role of the GCN in your network?
The GCS allows each component nodes to absorb information from its neighboring components, so the length nodes embedding data only describe the component itself, but also it moves within the overall topology. This is important because many logical anomalies are relational rather than purely local.
How did you know where Andy is actually helping?
From main result, the total average ARC improved from 95.35 for the baseline to 95.543 already. More importantly, category-wise results show that splicing connectors benefit the most, which is consistent with the intended goals of relation modeling. So perfectly helps particularly when relational evidence matters.
I have a question. In your experiment result, the logical anomaly is better than structural anomaly, right? We can see the comparison edge. Yeah. And you have an average performance about 95.5. Is this very good? Yeah. Okay. And my question is, since the logical anomaly is better, why you will average? You can only use the logical anomaly. Yeah. 对，因为它比较好。对。那比较好，我就用它就好。那我就还是说我的理解是错的。因为我把它全部都展示出来。哦，你把它全部展示出来。就是各个类别的。And another question is, the logical one is better. What is the cost? 它要付出什么代价吗？还是需要整理资料什么？因为这个方法比较好，那它有没有什么缺点？它有没有什么需要付出的 overhead？
就牺牲了一点，稍就就在直接找钱。
了解。OK。所以这两个其实应该各有一个缺点。OK。We welcome the next one. The next. Who is your advisor? Your advisor. 对，我说你是谁的学生？OK, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Srikanand. Today I'm going to introduce my research covering production for musical particle color electronic paper. And this is my outline. And let's start with my motivation. First, let's compare the two leading color paper technologies. On top is e-ink Kaleido, which uses a black and white and color filter array structure, while it offers fast refresh rate and measure technology. Its colors are softer due to the filter layer. Below is e-ink ACET, a new word for color particle technology. That element filter entire. It gives four color particles, C, N, Y, and W, within each micropixel, controlled by precise voltage correlation to reflect varied color directly. As shown in the parent image, ACET fast surpass Kaleido in color particle, very see contrast and white purity. Although the driving process is slower, the leaping from filter base to multi-particle color deliver a fundamentally super visual experience. And next, rendering performance. Let's look at the visual gap. On top is the original sRGB image as seen on the standard monitor, with different colors and 3D detail. Below is the same image written directly on headset hardware without any optimization. You can immediately see the washed out colors and extreme low contrast. The ones vibrant red and yellow are almost gone. This demonstrates a critical fact. Without algorithm intervention, the hardware alone cannot accurately reproduce colors, which is the core point this research aims to address. And next, the color space. To understand the visual gap we just saw, we must analyze it both the length of color space. While the market trend demands higher color fitting for e-paper, there is a major conflict. The severe mismatch between industry standard sRGB image and ACET hardware. Looking at the gamma diagram, the blue line represents the sRGB standard, while the red line shows ACET's actual reach. It's clear that ACET's color volume is extremely restricted, and even its black primarily suffers from a noticeable pollution. Our challenge, therefore, is to develop the precise algorithm to overcome this physical barrier and extract the best possible visual performance from leading hardware. And this is my preliminary flowchart I've outlined. I will go into the specific details shortly, but before we dive in, please take a moment to look over the overview. And gamma mapping. Before performing gamma mapping, we must convert the image from sRGB to the OKLAB color space instead of using the traditional CILAB. The primary reason is illustrated dramatically after on the right. In the blue region, CILAB hue has purged significantly, which lead to the visual aspect seen in the bottom left compression. Specifically, when adjusting color, CILAB introduced inconsistent progression, whereas OKLAB element is blue to purple nonlinearly. This ensures excellent hue consistency during the transformation process, which is essential for achieving accurate color restoration of e-paper. And next, in the two-mark processing step, white point normalization is a critical first step. Since OKLAB is a nonlinear space, this normalization must be performed in the linear XYZ space by calculating the ratio n between the D65 reference white and the initial asset white primary value. This process, known as relative colorimetric conversion, is similar to to how printers adjust for e-paper whiteness, ensuring that the reproduced white point aligns perfectly with the maximum value in OKLB space, and establish an accuracy baseline for subjective color mapping. In Guma processing, natural engine is a critical step to resolve the blue chip easily as at the primary. By using vector operation to calculate the angle zeta and rotation axis as between the actual and ideal natural axis, we apply rotation formula to create a rotation matrix R. Then rotate an elegant asset gamma with the ideal natural axis. This technique ensures that the e-paper no longer exhibits color tints when displayed gray and black, establishing a correct grayscale foundation for high quality color reproduction. And this is the result. And lineage mapping. In the lineage mapping step, we employ the sigmoidal curve to manage the image function. Since the dynamic range of the e-paper is such narrow than that of standard display, we consider a smooth asphalt curve by calculating the cumulative sum of Gaussian functions as shown in the first formula. Here the parameter Xin and sigma are used to process control the curve centership and steepness. The second formula then normalize and scales these values into a lookup table that fit within the hardware specific luminance limit, LR mini and LR max. This nonlinear mapping efficiency produces critical mid-tone detail by compression height and shadow, significantly enhancing the perceptual depth and layer under constrained hardware condition. And this diagram compares the performance of three different gamma mapping standards in the lightness and chroma space. In the left panel, showing the original gamma, there is a clear discrepancy in lightness between the sRGB chroma cos POCU and the SF cos PCRU. The middle panel illustrates the linear mapping, which will adjust result in the relativistic lightness diffraction. And the rightmost panel features the sigmoidal mapping used on our research. And this is the result. And entry determination. Entry determination defines the direction path of color compression. Using green boundaries, we divide the gamma into three core regions. Constant slope is applied extreme lightness level to ensure smooth gradient. Constant entry is used in the mid-tones to precisely guide sRGB color along the dash path to run the asset boundary, maximizing chroma preservation. Finally, constant lightness ensures brightness consistency in specific area. This dynamic adjustment allows images of different hue to maintain the fineness, detail, and vibrancy despite hardware limitation. And gamma compression. Gamma compression is the pivotal operation for achieving accurate color display. We implement a piecewise compare stage as shown in formula. When the input color P in lies within a conservation set T zone inside the ACDP gamma, less than 0.9 PR is kept equal to P into preserved original color detail. However, as color approach or exceeds the boundary, there are nonlinear scaling approach into the formula to fit precisely within the ACDP hardware limit GR indicated by the red line. For following the mapping test represented by dash line, this method not only resolve distortion caused by gamma overflow, but also ensure that color transition remains smooth and natural even under restricted hardware conditions. And gamma post processing. visual space optimized for mapping, calculated by sequential applying the inverse rotation matrix and the inverse white point scale. We return the color to the original ACEP range and show the vertices and width, the hardware available primarily. Furthermore, in the visual comparison, we evaluate the original image against the SGCK single entry animation at our proposed MA method. Its preliminary results show that MA3R deliver superior light dark contrast in flower texture, whereas the traditional SGCK exhibits severe lightness compression in the blue sky of the house image, leading to poor visual performance on ACP hardware. And vector error diffusion. The final project is vector error diffusion, where we implement the Jarvis filter for higher quality backtoning. First, the image is converted to the LED space to find the hardware primarily with the linear color difference delta E for each pixel. Next, the color error between the original pixel value and the select primarily is calculated and diffused to 12 neighboring pixels based on the white define and the kernel. Note this special color modulation will reverse the principle of visual color mixing to present smoother gradient and a richer peak for tone. A table displays the limit number of display color. And this is our result. And this is the performance. We authorize the delta E matrix to quantify color accuracy via CODA image simulate and I1 Pro 3D physical measure of color checker. The results demonstrate that our proposed NADR algorithm significantly outperforms calibrated display and the traditional SDCK, achieving the lowest and most stable color deviation across both composite images and standard color graphs. And this is the conclusion. OKLB color space implement conversion to the OKLB space to eliminate the blue to purple hue shift common in traditional color space. And hardware shift correction applied by point normalization and natural axis alignment to correct the inherent physical color shift of assets such as blue sky. And dynamic range optimization authorizes the model lightness mapping to present neat tone detail and the NADR algorithm of versus natural gamma compression. And thank you everyone.
Does NA3R need adjustment when switching from natural photo to business chart?
Photo prioritization using sigmoidal mapping. Just require color identification, feature iteration for adjust, and chart determination for better solid color performance.
Can the calibration remain accurate under non-standard lighting like warm or bright light?
The current model is calibrated for standard light source. Color shift occur in real environment. Feature version could use ambient light sensor for dynamic compensation.
How do you balance low delta E value with subjective visual aesthetic?
OKLD was chosen to ensure perceptual uniformity and avoid artifacts like blue to purple shift, and NADR aims for results that look natural to the human eye, rather than just chasing the lowest numerical error.
work seems very complete, and I never heard a presentation. I mean a seminar, right?
Yeah.
It's a new work.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And has it been published? 有被那个发表到会议论文或者是
还没。
Maybe you can prepare to submit this.
Okay.
Okay. Because I didn't hear similar results in the present in this work. Maybe I'm not expert in this area, but I think this work is really good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And you left the reference.